and welcome in On To Go. You know, I've lived in Montgomery, Alabama since 1962. And after I got out of the service in 66 and that period afterwards, I learned about something that's a real gem in central Alabama. It's Jasmine Hill Gardens. It's located between Montgomery and Wetumpka, nestled into the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it is truly a gem, and it's a little piece of Greece right here in Montgomery. And the proprietor extraordinaire, and you've done, and I say that, Jim, I've known you forever, and you do everything up there, is Jim Inscoe. And Jim, we're so happy to have you here with us.
Nice to have me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And it is truly a gem, and it's one of those things when people come to Montgomery, and I come from Chicago. A lot of times you say Alabama, they go, no shoes and no teeth. You know, well, no, we've got a lot of shoes, we've got a lot of teeth, and we got a lot of history, we got a lot of beauty.
Well, you know, the thing that you didn't know in the 60s was that we were on the meteorite crater.
That's right.
Ben and Mary Fitzpatrick, who founded Jasmine Hill, had no idea that they were situated on a meteorite crater.
Isn't that amazing?
And so it's been in the last 15 years that it's been proven that it was a meteorite crater. And we started hearing rumors back in the mid-1970s that they were looking at a U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey map, and it looked like a crater shape on there. But anyway, Dr. King at Auburn was able to prove, because he drilled core samples and found shocked quartz, and you have to find shocked quartz to prove that it was a meteorite strike.
Wow.
And so now we've, in the last 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, we've been opening up, trimming limbs off of trees to open up the view, because people come to Jasmine Hill wanting to see the crater now. And we've opened it up so you can get a nice view 4 miles across from we're the western rim, and you see all the way to the eastern rim.
Isn't that something?
This is my home, and I didn't know that.
So
thank you.
Obviously, then, when the person's visiting the gardens, you'll probably put some kind of identification there.
Well,
to let them know.
We will get around to doing that.
Yes.
It's not there yet, but we do have the U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey maps in the visitor center at Jasmine Hill, so you can see the topography, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Well, we need to get our buddy Lee Santella Tourism to kind of help you with some of the signage up there to let people know.
Well, yeah, that's true, and of course Lee has put us in the Alabama Garden Trail, which is very nice. That's an honor for us to be in that, and then because of being in the Garden Trail, we're open every weekend all year.
Okay.
But for groups, we'll open any day of the year, anytime they want to come. But we're open to visitors Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Let's talk about some of the things that you see there. It's not just gardens, it's amazing history in Greece, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Ben Fitzpatrick was Governor Fitzpatrick's grandson. And his father had died when he was young, and his stepfather, Mr. Munger, who grew up in Birmingham, told Ben he wanted to send him to college and he could go where he wanted to go, and he chose Yale. And at Yale he studied Greek history and mythology and was always fascinated by it. So when he came back to Montgomery and met a lady that he had met playing softball in Chisholm one Sunday afternoon, he and Miss Mary just would go to Greece, and during the Depression they had family members who couldn't afford to live separately, so they came and lived with them, and they would just turn the house over to the family and take off for Greece, and they would actually help on archaeological digs at times.
Wow.
But they went to the American School of Classical Studies in Greece to learn more. And in their travels to museums and things, they would spot a statue they wanted to make a copy of and hire a sculptor this year and go back next year to approve it and ship it to New Orleans for clearance through customs. And at that time, New Orleans had a special double tax. If you had a balcony with an iron railing around it, you paid twice as much tax as your neighbor who had a wooden railing. So people were tearing the iron off and throwing it in junkyards. So all the railings, the iron railings at Jasmine Hill were originally New Orleans cast iron. And they would just put it on a train with the statue to be shipped to Wetumpka and then used it in the garden. But the other thing during the Depression, President Roosevelt, you know, had CCC
Right,
camps,
right.
Civilian Conservation
Yes.
Corps camps, and there was one on the creek down behind what's now Jasmine Hill Gardens.
Oh, me.
And they were able to dynamite the creek banks to loosen the stone, and then they could take crowbars and go in and bring it up in sheets and put it on mule and wagon to bring up to the gardens, and Mr. Fitzpatrick would hire the workers from the CCC camp to lay the walks and make the walls and install the ironwork and everything. So it was a long procedure, and as they told me, it grew like topsy. They never knew it was going to be as big as it was, but it's about 22 acres that they developed, and the thing is so wonderful now is they planted so many. They planned it so there's something blooming all year long,
Wow.
unless we have a hard freeze. Now the hard freeze knocks
Right,
out the
right.
camellias, but right now, for example, the crepe myrtles are just absolutely gorgeous, and a big splash of color behind all the points of interest, such as the Temple of Hera, where it's a full-size exact reproduction of where they light the Olympic flame in Olympia. So it's just an unusual creation. It really is.
We're going to get you to come back next
Yeah,
week because
yeah.
we want to explore some of the other things besides just the gardens. But you are open, as you say, every weekend throughout the whole year. And then during the summer, you're open all during the week also.
No, we open
Just on
weekends
weekends.
all
Weekends
year,
all-
but we will open for a group
During the week.
anytime,
Okay,
any day
great.
of the year. They just have to make advance reservations.
Good.
But
Good.
we're open Friday and Saturday from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, and Sundays from noon until 5.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well,
And
thank
just
you.
remember, if you haven't seen it, you're missing a true jewel. We'll be right back right after this.